You see someone eating alone at a restaurant, and you think they must be lonely. Woman booking a hotel room for one, and you assume she has no friends. Man boarding a plane by himself, and you wonder what went wrong in his life. But here's what you're missing. Those people traveling alone aren't running from something. They're running toward themselves. And the numbers prove they're not just brave. They're building something most people spend their whole lives searching for. 74.6% increase in Google searches for solo travel between April 2023 and April 2024. Not a slow climb. An explosion. The United States solo travel market hit $94.88 billion in 2024. Expected to punch through $106 billion by the end of 2025. Global market, $482 billion, heading straight for $1 trillion by 2030 at a growth rate of 14.3% annually. This isn't a trend, it's a movement. And at the center of it sits one question nobody wants to answer out loud. Why are the people who travel alone the ones who seem most sure of themselves? They've sat with their own thoughts for 7 days straight in a country where nobody speaks their language. They've navigated a train system at 3 a.m. with a dead phone. They've ordered food by pointing at pictures and hoping. And every single one of those moments, it wasn't defeating them, it was rewiring their brain. This script is researched and factual using sources from the Journal of Neurophysiology, published in 2010 studying decision confidence in the brain, consumer behavior in tourism and hospitality, publishing constraint negotiation studies in November 2024, and Jiangsu Normal. Universities means end-chain research on solo traveler typology from April 2024, analyzing personal values and confidence development. These aren't lifestyle blogs. These are peer-reviewed academic institutions tracking real behavioral changes. Now back to the information. Your brain on autopilot. That's what most people live with. Same route to work, same lunch spot, same conversations. Your prefrontal cortex, the part handling decisions and emotional regulation, barely lights up. It doesn't need to. But drop yourself in Bangkok at midnight trying to find your hostel with street signs you can't read. That cortex fires like the 4th of July. This is neuroplasticity in action. Your brain forming new neural pathways because the old ones don't work here. Researchers at Stanford using neural implants tracked this in real time. Dorsal premotor cortex and primary motor cortex showing decision confidence as it builds. Not after, during, every choice lighting up, every uncertainty strengthening the network. The brain releases something when you solve a problem alone. Serotonin, the chemical foundation of confidence. You find the right train, shot of serotonin, you order in broken Italian, and they understand. Another hit, you make it through a night in a place that scared you. Your nervous system recalibrates. It learns you're safe in uncertainty. Eustress, psychologists call it. Mild stress that doesn't break you, stress that builds you. Albert Bandura theorized this in 1977. Self-efficacy, your belief that you can handle new situations, not hope. Belief backed by evidence you've created yourself. In solo travel, it's a self-efficacy laboratory running 24 hours a day. Increased self-efficacy from navigating foreign environments transferred to professional challenges. Sample size was small, but the correlation was undeniable. Your brain doesn't separate travel confidence from life confidence. It's the same wiring. Build it in one place, and it shows up everywhere else. They're not doing it once and stopping. They're doing it and coming back for more. Because something happened on that first trip that changed the math. The equation of what they thought they could do shifted permanently. Late evening arrival. She said, looking back, it was terrifying, but in the moment she felt completely calm and collected. Published in Tourism and Current Issues, June 2024. That's not recklessness. That's the adolescent brain testing autonomy in real time. Developmental tasks of independence. Formation of self through competence in unfamiliar situations. And the result? Confidence that carries through middle adulthood and beyond. Women in their 50s traveling solo reported having to push themselves even when they didn't feel confident. Exploring new areas instead of sticking to safe zones, the discomfort wasn't stopping them, it was the point. 78% of those with fewer than 6 solo trips worry about safety. After 10 trips, that number drops to 59%. Experience doesn't eliminate fear, it proves fear is a terrible predictor of reality. 25% of solo female travelers feared for their safety in the last 12 months. 1% didn't keep themselves safe. That's not zero. But compare that to the 43% of people who traveled solo in 2024 according to Skyscanner and plan to do it again in 2025. They're doing the math, risk versus reward, and they're choosing themselves. 17% in 2024, 37% use anti-theft bags, 55% buy travel insurance. These aren't people being careless, these are people being calculated. And the calculation says the confidence they'll gain is worth more than the comfort they'll lose. Because here's what happens when you travel alone. You become the only mirror. No friend to validate your choice of restaurant. No partner to confirm the hotel is nice. No family to agree the sunset was beautiful. You sit with your own judgment. And over days and weeks, you start trusting it. That internal voice that says this is good stops needing external confirmation. Self-continuity, neuroscience calls it. The sense your past, present, and future self are connected. Most people lose that thread in daily chaos. Solo travel hands it back. You watch yourself make good decisions. You see yourself adapt. You become your own reference point. Highest scores for lack of confidence and safety concerns. Soloist segment, 38%. Lowest scores across all constraint items. Quite confident about traveling alone. Main concerns were cost, not capability. The gap between those two groups? Experience, self-construal. Internal values driving motivation. The highly constrained weren't less capable. They just hadn't proved it to themselves yet. Self-actualization and escape relaxation driving positive intention. External values? No impact, meaning the push comes from inside, from wanting to see what you're capable of when nobody's watching. Jordan and Gibson in 2005, Wilson and Harris in 2006. Yang in 2018 all found the same pattern. Women traveling alone, seeking empowerment, liberation, identity, personal time, freedom from domestic roles, not running from responsibility, claiming space to find out who they are without it. Kashmir and Ladakh study with 275 solo female travelers. Quantitative approach, SPSS analysis, findings clear. Independence, self-improvement, unique experiences as primary motivations. Psychological factors like escaping routines and boosting confidence key drivers. Socio-cultural constraints like gender norms and family disapproval, the main barriers. But here's the thing, they traveled anyway. The barriers didn't stop them. They made the trip harder to justify, but impossible to resist. Research published in Journal of Neurophysiology, 2010. Decision-making and confidence studied through integrate and fire neural networks, the winning attractor state. Firing rates increasing linearly as discriminability increases on correct trials, decreasing on error trials. What that means in English. Your brain knows when you're right before you get confirmation. Confidence is an emergent property. It builds from the neural noise and decision states as you navigate choices. The more decisions you make that turn out right, the stronger that signal gets. Solo travelers make roughly 200 micro decisions per day. Where to eat, which street to take, whether to trust this taxi driver, how much to pay for that souvenir, when to go back to the hotel. Each one is data, each outcome is feedback, and the brain is tallying. After 5 days, that's 1,000 decisions. After 2 weeks, it's 2,800. You're not the same person who arrived. Your decision confidence network has been training like an athlete. Dorsolateral prefrontal cortex shows higher blood oxygen level dependent signals on easy trials versus difficult ones. Your brain working less hard when you're certain. But solo travel doesn't give you easy trials. It gives you medium-hard decisions with incomplete information. And that's exactly the range that builds the strongest confidence. Not too easy, not impossible. Right in the zone where your brain has to work but can succeed. 71% of US survey respondents citing solo travel as important for mental health wellness. This isn't vacation, it's psychological maintenance. After the pandemic's forced isolation, people aren't scared of being alone anymore. They're scared of not knowing if they can handle it. Solo travel answers that question, definitively. When I talk to people, I make very direct eye contact and I sound confident. That's not natural charisma. That's learned behavior from navigating the world alone. University of Florida professor Heather Gibson, researching solo women travel since 1998. Technology has made it easier, but the core benefit remains. Building self-awareness, facing fears of the unknown, gradually building self-confidence through lived experience. Up from 68% in 2022, steady climb. And these people are spending money. Solo travelers spend 20% more on travel insurance than other travelers, $1,000 to $2,000 per trip, excluding airfare for most. 27% willing to drop $5,000 on a single adventure. They're investing in themselves, literally. The soloist segment had the lowest constraint scores. Cost safety and having someone available to travel with were concerns, but didn't stop intention. These aren't fearless people. They're people who move despite fear. That's a different animal entirely. That's agency. First solo trip usually 7 to 10 days, often domestic. 41% stay in their own country. Testing the waters. By trip 3 or 4, international destinations, different cultures, bigger challenges. They're scaling difficulty intentionally, not jumping from zero to Everest. Building from sidewalk to hill to mountain. Confidence isn't binary, it's progressive. and solo travel gives you the curriculum. Time away from daily pressures, rejuvenating the mind. But it's not passive relaxation, it's active recovery. You're processing challenging experiences in real time, building emotional resilience through problem solving. American Psychological Association showing mindfulness reduces stress and anxiety, and solo travel forces mindfulness, nobody else to distract you. You're present or you're lost. University of Buffalo, finding positive solitude leads to greater emotional self-regulation and lower emotional exhaustion. Journal of Travel Research. Reporting solo travelers feel greater sense of accomplishment and personal growth after overcoming obstacles. This isn't soft science. These are documented psychological outcomes measured across thousands of subjects. Mental resilience building in real time. Hamid, 2021, showing women who travel independently achieve greater self-awareness, personal empowerment, emotional capacity development. Travel becoming a platform for absorbing life experiences, facing fears, building self-confidence through geographical and psychological movement. Your brain entertaining multiple strategies in parallel instead of committing to one. Mouse studies showing premotor cortex considering several options simultaneously during decision-making. Humans do the same. Solo travel keeps multiple possibility tracks open. You learn to pivot, to adjust, to find third options when the first two don't work. That flexibility becomes permanent. You take it home with you. This script uses sources including Nature Neuroscience research on decision-making neural processes, humanities and social sciences. Communications Publishing Taiwan solo travel studies in January 2023, and Consumer Behavior and Tourism from Emerald Publishing Group analyzing pandemic and post-pandemic solo travel behavior in November 2024. Deep research from institutions tracking real changes in how humans build confidence through independent travel. Now back to the information. Hilton surveying 13,000 travelers across 13 countries plus 4,000 team members. 34% eager to embark on solo journey by end of 2025. They're calling it mimooning, solo leisure travel, shaking up the world built for pairs. Forcing the industry to recognize spending power and influence. Single occupancy room searches up 170% on one booking platform. The infrastructure is adapting because the demand won't stop. Uni-World River Cruises showing 31% increase in solo guests from 2019 to 2023. 61% jump in female solo travelers, same period. First women-only river cruise launching August 2025. Natural Habitat. Adventures launching Women in the Wild Journeys in 2023, boosting capacity 75% over last year, planning to double it for 2025. Strong demand among older women, women whose partners can't travel with them, women who lost partners, women who realize they don't need permission anymore. They're creating their own adventures. Wander Tours CEO Beth Whitman. 15 years ago, only a handful of companies offered women-only tours. Now it's acceptable to leave families, partner spouses behind and travel with like-minded women, or alone entirely. 73% of Kentucky customers in 2023 traveled solo, women accounting for nearly 2/3. EFGO Ahead Tours, experiencing 200% increase in solo bookings year over year. 27% of travelers saying they plan solo trip next. That's double previous years. The momentum is vertical. Transformative life phases, career changes, personal growth journeys, major life decisions. Late 20s to 30s, using travel alone for self-reflection, increased confidence, personal growth. 18 to 24-year-olds expected to grow at 13.8% annually through 2030. Younger travelers seeking self-discovery, adventure, authentic cultural experiences. They're starting earlier, building confidence younger. 75% preferring trips lasting 2 weeks or longer. 90% favoring escorted tours. They want structure, but they want it alone. They've spent decades accommodating others. Now they're accommodating themselves. And the confidence from that decision radiates through everything else they do. 83% influenced by travels of others, whether historical figures or social media influencers. They see it can be done, so they do it. Hashtag solo travel, over 6.5 billion views on TikTok, 9 million posts on Instagram, 120 million views for hashtag solo female travel. This isn't happening in shadows. It's celebrated, documented, normalized. How to walk through a museum at your own pace without checking if others are bored. How to spend an entire day exactly as you want without compromised negotiation or guilt. That's not loneliness, that's sovereignty. And once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. Safety still tops the list, cost coming second. Single supplement charges increasing accommodation costs up to 50%. 64% of women saying higher prices prevent first solo trip, but operators are responding. talk waiving single supplements on all European river cruises for solo travelers in Category 1 cabins. AMA Waterways removing charges on select European cruises. Tour operators watching demand and adjusting. The market is listening because the money is loud. 46% of women citing safety as biggest worry. 20% of men saying same, almost 3 times the gender gap. Women adopting tactics, informing friends and family of plans, researching destinations in advance, avoiding going out alone at night. 54% of female solo travelers listing safety as concern versus 19% of male. The world isn't equal. Solo travel doesn't pretend it is. But women are traveling anyway, calculating risk, managing it, not letting it make their decisions for them. 21% of solo female travelers feared for their safety in last 12 months. 1% didn't keep themselves safe. Those are real numbers, real risks. But compare them to benefits reported. 74% wanting to challenge themselves and increase confidence. 47% traveling for freedom and planning itineraries without external input. 37% believing traveling alone offers greater opportunities to relax and unwind. The math says go. The confidence says yes. The fear says maybe. And the trip happens anyway. Because here's what they've figured out. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's action despite it. It's booking the flight while your hands shake. It's walking into the hostel common room when you want to hide in your bunk. It's ordering the local dish when you can't pronounce it. Each tiny act of moving forward while scared. That's the compound interest of confidence. It accumulates, it builds. And eventually you look back and realize you're not the person you were when you started. Taiwan study with 381 females showing personal internal values like self-fulfillment and accomplishment, significantly influencing motivation to travel alone. These motivations contributing to increased self-confidence and independence during journeys. Solo travel pushing you out of comfort zone in a healthy way, facing uncertainty, making independent decisions, solving problems alone, all contributing to stronger sense of self. Over time, these experiences building resilience and lasting confidence. Solo travel helps meet needs related to mental health and personal growth. It's a tool, not a luxury, not a treat. A tool for building the psychological infrastructure most people lack. Finding purpose through travel, meeting like-minded individuals whether in person or online. Finding others with same passion helping you feel comfortable in who you are. Amplifying sense of awe. Some argue traveling alone gets in way of connection with others. Wrong. It forces different kinds of connection. Deeper ones, brief ones that matter. Strangers sharing dreams, fears, wounds only hours after meeting. Bonds that leave permanent marks. Lost reservation, teaching, resourcefulness. These instances promoting creative thinking, developing lifelong skills. Reward of navigating obstacles successfully isn't just enjoyable travel experience. It's empowered, resilient mindset transferring to day-to-day life. Adaptability from adjusting plans quickly, critical thinking from evaluating situations and making decisions, resourcefulness from finding solutions with limited resources. Industry experts citing psychological benefits of navigating unknown territories alone, empowering you to become self-reliant and adaptable. Qualities beneficial to mental health and general well-being, not just nice meal or incredible sight. Overall travel experience. Challenges and triumphs contributing to transformative personal growth. Trips with friends enjoyable, but quintessential sense of autonomy in solo travel leading to profound self-discovery and empowerment. Consumer behavior in tourism and hospitality. November 2024, studying 250 respondents through mixed methods approach. Pre-pandemic independence and flexibility, key motivators. Safety and budget, significant constraints. During pandemic, half of respondents continued solo travel mainly within Europe. Constraints related to destination choice and health concerns. But they kept going. Confidence in overcoming difficulties, increasing motivation and effort. Negotiation efficacy concept showing, while negotiation positively affects motivation, it requires belief in ability to overcome barriers. Successfully reducing adverse impacts. Wilson 2004, showing constraint negotiation model in action. Perceived barriers dampening travel intentions initially, but successful negotiation reducing impact. Building confidence through actual experience, not theory, not motivation. Lived proof that they can handle it. 77% of travelers with fewer than 6 trips worried about safety versus 55% with more than 10. The learning curve is steep, but it's real. Women protecting themselves with practical measures. 17% carrying self-defense items. 37% using anti-theft bags. Older travelers more likely. Boomers, 53% versus Gen Z, 25%. Experience teaching caution without teaching fear. You can't take a break. You can't call timeout. You're in it for the duration you booked. That constant low-level challenge, that perpetual need to be switched on. That's what creates change. Not peak experiences, sustained exposure to manageable difficulty. Your brain doesn't build confidence from one big success. It builds from hundreds of small ones. And solo travel delivers hundreds per week. They're proving you don't need to choose between career and confidence building. You can do both. And the overlap is making them better at both. Remote work plus solo travel equals professionals who can adapt to anything. Skills learned navigating foreign cities, transferring to navigating corporate challenges. Self-reliance built abroad showing up in meetings. These are top destinations for solo female travelers by visa applications in 2024-2025. Spain scoring 7.45, safety index making it safest for female solo travelers. UK with English-speaking environment and excellent transport links. Italy with exceptional cuisine despite pickpocketing concerns. Thailand, Japan, Australia offering unique experiences. Berlin named by Kayak as world's best city for solo travel. Not just Europe, world. Vibrant art scene, historical landmarks, inclusive atmosphere, extensive public transport. Thriving cafe culture and nightlife, budget-friendly meal and hotel prices making it accessible. Voted among safest cities for women in 2022, Boston scoring second in Kayak's US list after Washington, D.C. These places aren't accidents. They're responding to demand, building infrastructure for solo travelers, making it easier, safer, more welcoming. Because the market is massive and growing. 39% of solo travelers saying this would improve experience. Oberoi Beach Resort, Mauritius, launching Touching Senses program, encouraging guests to slow down, reflect, indulge in stress-reducing creativity, boosting activities. Stargazing, oceanside painting classes, henna painting. Traditional cooking classes, every experience designed to soothe the soul. That's not marketing speak, that's meeting documented demand. Valuable market. 22% took 2 trips last year, 43% took 3 or more. They're not casual dabbling, they're committed, and they're spending. Decrease in people spending $2,000 or less per week. Increase in those spending $2,000 to $4,000 or more. Budget growing because value is proven. Overseas adventure travel supporting survey. Travel companies reporting substantial increase in demand for solo spots on tours and cruises. Industry recognizing shift, adapting products, creating experiences specifically for people traveling alone, because these travelers know what they want. And they're willing to pay for it. Your internal dialogue changes. By end of week, you're taking buses you haven't researched, trying restaurants with no English menu, starting conversations with strangers. Not because fear disappeared, because competence appeared. And competence crowds out fear, not eliminates, crowds out. Research showing personality changes from travel, increased openness to experience, greater emotional stability, higher conscientiousness. These aren't temporary vacation effects. These are measurable personality shifts that persist long after return home. Solo travel accelerating the shifts because there's no buffer, no companion to fall back on. You're adapting or you're struggling. And humans are surprisingly good at adapting when that's the only option. It's woman sitting at bar alone reading a book unbothered by stares. It's man navigating subway system in Tokyo with terrible Japanese and zero stress. It's teenager walking through European city at sunset, not checking phone every 30 seconds. That ease. That comfort in your own skin and unfamiliar place. That's what solo travel builds. And once you have it, everything else gets easier. If you can spend 12 hours alone in transit without spiraling, you can sit with uncomfortable emotions at home. If you can make friends in hostel in Budapest, you can make friends at neighborhood party. The skills are transferable. The confidence is portable. You built it. It's yours and forever. Final numbers. Global solo travel market projected $1.5 trillion by 2033. U.S. market growing 12.4% annually through 2030. Solo travelers aged 18 to 24 growing 13.8% annually. Women still leading at 65 to 70% of all solo travelers, but men increasing. 63% of men planning solo trips compared to 54% of women in some surveys. Gap closing, culture shifting. 86% of women saying they're unafraid to travel even amid global uncertainties. 48% of Americans planning at least one solo trip in 2025. Searches for best places to travel solo and solo travel tours increasing 5,000% in March alone, according to Emerald Cruises. Analysis of Google Trends. This isn't slowing down, this is accelerating. The confidence they're searching for in therapy books, workshops, retreats. It's available right now. You buy a ticket, you get on a plane, you go somewhere alone. And for 7 days or 14 days or 30 days, you practice being capable. You practice trusting yourself. You practice making good decisions with incomplete information. And when you come home, you're different. Not because travel changed you, because you changed you. Travel just gave you the laboratory. The best part of solo travel isn't the destinations. It's not the photos or the stories or the stamps in your passport. The best part is the moment 6 months later when something difficult happens. A job loss, a breakup, a family crisis. And you think back to that week in Morocco when you got lost and figured it out. That night in Iceland when you were scared and pushed through. That day in Vietnam when you didn't speak the language but made it work. And you realize, if you could do that, you can do this. Not the absence of fear, not the illusion of control, just the quiet knowledge that you've handled hard things before. And you'll handle this hard thing too, because you've proved it to yourself, in real places, with real consequences, and no one can take that from you. Technology making it easier, apps for translation, GPS that works everywhere, hostels with reviews, Airbnb with verified hosts, communities online sharing tips, women-only tours removing single supplements, but the core experience hasn't changed. You still have to get on the plane. You still have to navigate the arrival. You still have to make decisions when you're tired and lost and questioning yourself. Technology gives you tools, but confidence that you build yourself. They're not more capable than anyone else. At the start, they're just people who decided to find out what they're capable of, and then they went. And in going, they became the thing they were looking for, confident. Not because someone told them they were, because they proved it to themselves. One decision, one day, one trip at a time. And they liked what they found enough to keep coming back, to keep challenging, to keep growing. That's not loneliness, that's confidence. The kind you can't fake, the kind you can't buy, the kind that comes from doing the thing you thought you couldn't do. And realizing you were wrong about what you were capable of all along. And at the heart of it, one simple truth. People who travel alone aren't confident because they travel alone. They travel alone because they want to become confident. And it works, every single time. Because the world is the greatest teacher, and being alone is the hardest test. And passing that test, that changes everything.